So the 4th of July is over, and I now feel I can besmirch your screen with something un-American. Yeah, this is Colin Kaepernick, who has some admirable qualities, all right? He's got guts. He was a good passer on the 49ers, did well for University of Nevada, Reno, and otherwise is wayward. And the latest edition of Wayward Kaepernick is his insistence that things created in America during a period when we owned slaves are bad and should never be on display anymore. One of those things is a flag. So here we go again with a wacky progressive, un-American, who thinks America has a lasting evil about it. Okay? The Betsy Ross flag, which was the 13 stars in a circle used at the time of the Revolutionary Wars, when people really with guts laid their lives on the line to get an incrementally better republic for themselves. Incrementally, because they lived quite well as colonists under the then freest regime ever, the British Empire. So the better words are those of not Colin, but Condi. Condoleezza Rice, and echoed by Sophia Nelson, who call the slavery that existed at the beginning of our republic America's birth defect. And like people born with birth defects, we work with them and we try to make sure everything is whole and we're not discriminating against. So here is the right attitude, that we extinguished slavery. We didn't expand it while we were a nation. In fact, our founding document, the one thing that it demanded our government do within 20 years was no longer import slaves. Didn't mean extinguish slaves, but enough people founding that government and soon after wanted the extinction and just couldn't to get the government together. We needed compromises to make the United States happen in the first place. If one is opposed to things created in America during the period in which we had slaves, you would thus be opposed to public schools. You would be opposed to the steam engine and railroads that use the steam engine. You would be opposed to modern shampoo. He might not care. You would be opposed to electrical generation, and you would be opposed to the United States itself, created in 1776 through the Revolution and really solidified by 1790's ratification of the Constitution. That generation of people, though they flew the Betsy Ross flag from 1776 to 1791, which capped really the founding of this country, that generation of Americans did more to start a legacy of freedom than maybe anyone else. Freedom especially for Black people. Freedom for people who were oppressed, because it's this nation and only this nation that goes out of its way to fight on behalf of oppressed people. We didn't go to Korea to take over territory. It was to roll back communism. We didn't fight in Europe twice to take over territory or take some riches back. We did it to oppose thugs who were taking over the rest of their neighbors. Only the United States takes the lead as well as we did. It was based on principles back to 1776, yes, when they were flying a flag, sometimes dying with that flag, that we now call the Betsy Ross flag. The founding of this country actually has creed behind it. I believe we're the only country that is established on creed, meaning a set of beliefs. And one of them is the very egalitarian, that all men are created equal. So we weren't able to throw off the inequalities that we inherited during the colonial days that included slavery. But it was an aspiration and one that we did deliver on 7 years later. It took lives, it took vision, it took guts to rid us of something that had been with us, the world, for eons, okay? More than just centuries, millennia. And the creed of the United States that Colin Kaepernick seems to dismiss is what keeps us the freest and most prosperous country today and helps everyone across the world who is less free and less prosperous move in our direction. That's a very good legacy, and we should be proud to be flying a flag that started that. Governor Ducey of Arizona, stand-up guy, because despite some niceness coming from Nike in his state, he actually said, you know what? We don't want you in our state, at least not with benefits from the state, if you're going to cower to political correctness and anti-Americanism. Colin Kaepernick should go back to playing football. He was pretty good. Beyond that, he's wayward. I'm Mark Greenstein.